All right, guys, we are here in front of Bank of America Stadium as the Panthers set up for their welcome walk to welcome Monroe Freeling, their first-round draft pick of the 2026 draft out of Georgia. A lot of controversy right now over this pick. Should we have got Mekhi Lemon? Should have we traded up for Kenyon Sadiq? There's a lot of people that wanted to go offensive weapons. Obviously, the last couple of years we've gone wide receiver with Xavier and Tedero McMillan. But honestly, I'm not upset. Definitely it's not the most flashiest pick, but definitely is one of those picks that, if you really look at it and you think of the state of the team and where we're going, we got Bryce, who's developing into an elite quarterback. You can fight me on that. We drafted him in 2023. It's 2026. We see him grow the last couple of years, and now we're here. We drafted an offensive lineman. So what does that say? We're investing into the offensive line the next couple of years. We could have done it again through free agency, but if we take a look at the numbers, you can tell how expensive it is to actually have a stable and front, good offensive line. Now, the other thing is that people don't realize or remember the combinations. I think we had about 12 or 13 different combinations on the offensive line all of last year. So it was getting kind of tight out there, all right? So with Robert Hunt going down at the early beginning of the year, and then obviously losing Ike Mekwonu, Chandler Zavala retiring, we're kind of hurting on offensive line, but not like we were in years past where like, oh my gosh, we couldn't pass. But we had a pretty good offensive line. We pushed the ball downfield, especially in the Atlanta game. You saw in the playoff game we were able to push the ball down the field. There's a lot of success with the offensive line. So putting more resources through the draft in the offensive line, I don't think is a bad move. I think it's not the most flashiest move. I think everybody would have loved to have Mekhi Lemon, a great receiver, Steve Smith type receiver. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that there's more time, there's more rounds of this draft going down. And I think, we could probably find a good guy down the draft. But also we got to remember, we do have a couple wide receivers already on their team that can develop. We got John Mechie III, who's a, good receiver. I'm not sure too much of his position and stuff like that, exactly what he does at the wide receiver route. But, at the end of the day, we have the buys. You got Jimmy Horn in there, Xavier Leggett. Hopefully he can develop into a good receiver. These guys we already have a decent core right now, but can continue to build and develop guys already in-house instead of throwing yet another first-round pick at this. I think with Monroe Freeling coming in, they love the guy. If you've seen the video, you've seen the call, kind of exactly how it was. You saw exactly how the emotion that he had when he got called, and then when they called his name on the TV where he was clapping and he was hyped up. You can't beat that. And that's the kind of guy that Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, Brant Tillis, Dave Tepper, all the guys on the front office, on the coaching staff, they want in the locker room. They want someone that brings that energy. That's one of the first things that he said on the press conference, that, hey, I want to bring that energy. So I think we're super excited for what's to come with him. I love the pick. I slept on it. I thought about it. And we can't really lose investing in the offensive. Now, we'll see what rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, whatever, hopefully we can get, some more help there and have another phenomenal draft class. But we'll see. But honestly, right now we're super stoked. I'm super excited. I woke up. I watched Dan Morgan on the Pat McAfee show, and just hearing him talk about, their mentality going to this. He did mention, he said it was the best player available at that time. So that kind of tells me that maybe they're eyeing Kenyon there. Maybe, who knows. But at the end of the day, we got our guy. We love the energy that he's coming in with. He's fired up. He wants to protect Bryce. He's an ex-teammate of Trevor Etienne. So we're in a pretty good spot, guys. I don't think this is a bad pick. I've been talking to a couple different guys. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. So really what I'm trying to do here is kind of bring that narrative back. Bring that narrative and start talking about, what we're doing as a team. I think we're investing into the offensive line. We're moving down. We're doing all the things that we need to do to make sure that things are taken care of, not only for right now, because it is obviously a win-now mentality. I think they've been saying that for the last couple of years. It's a win-now mentality, but honestly, winning now, but in different facets, right? If you've seen the interviews with Brant Tillis, you understand that they're thinking 2027, 2028. They're already 2 years ahead of us, so they're thinking, okay, cool, we'll get the offensive lineman right now. We'll get it from the front right here, stabilize the offensive line, and then in the draft, maybe get another lineman. We might not be done with linemen, and just start to develop that and develop these guys behind a good veteran like Taylor Roman that passes on all the teachings. A good offensive lineman you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot going on. I'm super excited if you can't tell. We got some good stuff going on over here. So we're going to see if we can get some interviews with some Panthers fans to see kind of just their on-ground reaction, especially here in Charlotte. And we got some super fans over here, so we might go say what's up. Let's go. Keep pounding.